going to talk about this thing, The Knowing. First picture book ever for the kiddos and the parents.
Okay. Why did you choose to write a children's book?
Pandemic. I couldn't sing for my supper anymore. I was trying to find new ways to be creative. And I wrote a memoir a few years ago, and Cecily, who runs the Young Readers division of my publishing house, contacted me after the memoir came out and said, if you ever thought about writing a children's book, let me know. So pandemics made me think all kinds of new thoughts, and I called her up.
Had you thought about writing a children's book before? What were your thoughts about children's books, I guess, in general, and then your contribution to that?
Gee whiz. I mean, I have 2 kids. Every time, their early years of reading to them, that is, I guess, I did think about making children's books, because when you're doing that every night, it makes you think about what would you do if you were, but then, of course, I didn't act on it until, I got off my little hamster wheel that I'm always on unless otherwise specified, and then I thought, okay, let's try that. But it's actually really hard for me.
What's hard about it?
I realized that my writing is everything that I've been doing for 30 years. Like, I had to stop doing and write in a whole other way. All of this like double meanings or messing with conventions or challenging social or political or, assumptions or playing, twisting cliches.
Metaphors.
All of that. Yeah.
Out the window.
I mean, even just metaphors. When I first submitted, I submitted a few things that didn't fly with the publisher till we got to this, what became this book. And even just, my editor was like, yeah, no, metaphors, no. Kids are literal. This makes no sense. So even that, it was just wild to have to write in a very direct, simple way without doing all of those tricks that I love to do. I guess I thought about my own kids and what I would have liked to have offered them at a younger age. I have a 10-year-old and a teenager. And one thing I notice is that, we're so steeped in identity, for better and for worse. I think even more than when I was growing up, because with social media and all this, this modern world, identity is such a thing, and you have to define yourself, and you have to perfect your brand, and you have to perform it every day, and you have to get it right and make it vivid, and I feel for my kids with that work, that labor that comes with identity. Of course, identity is really important. To know yourself, to celebrate the differences, to understand, how big the world is and how many kinds of people. But at some point, I wonder if it doesn't become the burden itself. So I just wanted to make a book that connected with kids about, every adjective you'll ever be called, you're more still.